10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Yes, it is true. It's no longer rumor or speculation. Saints Row is coming to Stadia. Day and date, August the 23rd. And that's so awesome to be able to finally verify that. And it's been such an awesome past few weeks for Stadia. Lots of great news. Today, I've got some very special guests here. I've got to my right here, Craig, Mr. Petter. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good. Well, thank you so much for being on. And right below us here, we've got the one, the only, the scientist. How you doing? Oh, we can't hear you for some reason.
I forgot to turn on this light here. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. I mean, I've been following this channel for so long now. I'm having such a great time. We follow each other in my actual professional, I'd say, account on Twitter for such a long time. And it's been crazy lately that I came up to be here.
Yeah, it's so awesome. So I'm gonna put the trailer back on here and we'll talk about it here. So what are your guys' thoughts on Saints Row? Like, is this a game that you've been hoping to come to Stadia, and what do you think that it means that we're getting it day and date with other platforms?
Well, do you want me to start?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, no, of course, definitely. This is such a big game. It's AAA, which is it's been slow this year specifically. Of course, it's also a fantastic gameplay. It's really, really fun. So I really think it's going to be completely a success for Stadia standards, of course. And it's also going to, cheer the community. You see, Twitter today was already on fire because of that. So people are really excited. So I'm looking forward to play Saints Row. It's amazing news for Stadia.
Awesome. That's great. So what do you think? What do you think about it, Craig?
Yeah, excited about it. Excited about every game that comes. But I think, really, ironically, it's more exciting being like part of like the Stadia community, not knowing when a game's coming, because you kind of guessing and you keep an eye on it. And like Nerf Report done the meter getting closer and closer, and that's the excitement. I love it. And now it's coming
Yeah.
from the people who said, my source told me it's definitely not coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, granted, like PR doesn't always know exactly,
Yeah.
and aren't allowed to say. So, we'll give them the
Absolutely.
benefit of the doubt on that. But it's really good to see. We saw little hints here and there of Saints Row, coming to Stadia here, and it's great, that it's finally able to be announced today here. And what's awesome is it's what, like maybe about a month and a half away, 6 weeks away, something like that. So it's not too far away. It is really, really great news, and I wanted to open the show with that because it's pretty big news in the Stadia community, and thought that was really awesome. Before we go on here, let's give a couple shout outs in the chat here. We see in leads here. He says, "Hey, scientists, how you doing?" Marcus says, "Cool dudes. Hey, y'all." Let's see. Vivi's in the chat here. What's Vivi been up to? I don't know. I won't say this on the air, but we can all see it here. And he gives you a shout out, Craig, here. So yeah, this is awesome. Lots of people. Ninja Guy X was planning on being here today, but there's a massive network outage from one of the major internet and cell providers here in Canada, Rogers. And he's affected by that. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to make today's show. But I think he might be coming back next week. So we'll see here. Bruce says, bonjour, Bruce. How you doing? Simpleton gives us the, hey, what's up, guys? Zarina, hello. And Vivi again here, masking as Jem. He says, what's up, gamers? I don't think anybody will ever top like that. Jem's voice is just so soothing and relaxing there. So we can picture it in our minds here. And here we are. Windstar says, hey, all. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here. The scientist will be talking shortly about, he's got some Stadia data that he's been analyzing over the last couple weeks and come up with some very interesting finds. So we'll be talking with him shortly about that. But first, I wanted to mention today, and it was just a couple hours ago, Chris, community manager, one of the community managers. He's been there from the beginning for Stadia. Today is his last day. He writes on Reddit, Dear Stadians, I'm overcome with emotions writing this post, but I'd like to let everyone in our community know that today is my last day at Stadia. Working with the Stadia community over the last 2.5 years has been an incredible experience. But I'm excited to start a new chapter in my career working within a new role. While my next steps take me away from Google, I will continue being a player and supporter of Stadia in the future. I will always treasure the experience that I gained, the friends I've made, and the games we've played together. One of my fondest memories was watching the Stadia community thoroughly dismantle the Stadia team at Rainbow Six Siege. That was last August. That was such an awesome event to be able to play and interact with the people at Google and Stadia. And Chris says, you're in good hands with Dan. Dan has many years of gaming experience, and I could tell immediately upon meeting him that he'd be an intelligent, compassionate addition to the Stadia team. Dan will truly value your feedback and support our shared mission of making Stadia the best place to play. The rest of the Stadia team remains just as committed to the same goal. I will miss you all so dearly, but fear not. This is not goodbye. It's only farewell. See you on Stadia, friends. Gratefully yours, Chris from Google. Boy, that was it was definitely a surprise to see this post today. Like I said, Chris has been there from the very beginning. Him and Grace out in the forefront, um, just handling all of the ups and the downs that we've seen over the last couple of years with Stadia. And Chris will dearly be missed. Just like Grace, Chris was a very vital part of getting the Stadia community up and running, and he's put so much hard work and passion into making this community what it is today. So I just wanted to mention this and give a shout out to Chris, thank you so much for everything that you've done, that you've put up with, that you've had to go through, because I'm sure we don't even know the half of it on what goes on behind the scenes there. But thank you so much, Chris, for everything that you have done. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I don't know if you guys maybe want to mention, if you have anything to say to Chris. I mean, he could be watching. I don't know if Chris is watching, or he might be watching later. If there's anything you'd like to say to him, definitely now's your chance.
I have only just to thank him. It was really, really cool to have him around for such a long time, taking care of us, especially in the forum and in the Discord. And has done a good job. And I wish the best of luck for him too, in on his new endeavors. And we will take care of Dan. Make sure Dan is well treated, but also giving us the news. And if he can give me any piece of data to chow on, I would definitely take it. Yes, all the best for Chris. It was really good to have him for such a long time.
So Vivi mentions here real quick, says you're allowed to ping him on Discord to send him a message today. So any of those that are watching, if you're on the Stadia Discord, you can also send Chris a message there and let him know. He's got probably a couple of hours left before he signs off permanently, and pretty confident. Like you said, Dan's got lots of experience there. And I'm sure Dan's come on a couple of months ago, so it was a good transition period. Knowledge of transfer and things like that. I don't know, Craig. Have you
done a great job? And it's nice seeing his name come up on Discord when we get the TWAS and things like that. But fresh blood is a good thing as well. So onwards and upwards, eh? So let's see what Dan brings.
Yeah, exactly. That is so awesome. So again, thank you so much, Chris. I don't know if you will see this, but we really do appreciate all that you've done, and you will be missed. But like you said, this is not goodbye. It's only farewell. So maybe we'll see Chris on Stadia playing games and hanging out and having fun. Alrighty, so we've got a little bit of other news here. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. Those that have been following the channel here and have watched, a couple of months ago, we had the developer from Dead Drop Studios on, an Outbreak, trying to get the series on Stadia. And what was really awesome is this has been a community initiative, because it was the community who first pinged the developer here and said, would you be, have you thought about bringing this game to Stadia? And he's like, basically had no idea what Stadia was. Fast forward a couple months ahead here, and he's feverishly working in the background to try and get the Outbreak series. There's a brand new game in development. And it's going to be announced here, some news on it on August the 2nd. And we're trying to help push that initiative to be able to get this game on Stadia. So I've got a link in the description. I'm going to throw it here in the chat as well. Anything you can do to make noise to help, like, retweet, comment, and just let Google know that we'd love to see another developer on Stadia. And I understand the game is not everyone's cup of tea, but the more developers and the more diverse games that we get on Stadia, that will help the platform grow. We've already seen developers like 314 Arts, and Talking Dogs, Carson Kelly Games are on there. So it's nice to have a wide variety of games here. So please go out, help support, make some noise on social media, because Google does listen. People are watching and gauge interest based upon many factors, one of them being social media. So please go out there and help support the developer in getting the Outbreak series on Stadia. So hopefully we'll see here in a couple of weeks. I know the Dead Drop Studios also said that if he can get everything signed in the okay, that he's going to try to get a demo out by Halloween on Stadia for the brand new game. So hopefully we can make that happen and have him back on the show here in a couple of weeks. That would be so fantastic. After the August the 8th announcement, would be great to have him back on here. So that is what we kind of wanted to start here first. I'm going to go ahead and now unshare my stuff here. And now next up is going to be the scientist. You're going to be front and center here. I'll go ahead and start sharing here for everyone to see. And I'll give you the mic. I'll let you explain, what we're looking at, the data as much as you can for everybody here, and because you've really come across some great findings and conclusions. So I've really been looking forward to hearing this from you.
Nice. Oh, thank you very much. I wonder if my animations will come up the way I put on the PowerPoint. Otherwise, we're just going to go through everything at the same time, and it might be overwhelming. Just bear with me with patience. Those are guesstimates. I have good reasons to believe most of it is very accurate or within a margin of error that I consider when I do 3 estimates. I do conservative and average and liberal estimates. So then I can cover that very confidence that the interval would be within that. If you guys want to add me on Stadia, that's my user tag, Polidoro. So I'm a founder, and it's been a very, very good experience with Stadia. I really wanted to be, back to games, but I did not know if I was going to play actually games at the time, because I did not have the time. Just like, I have a newborn, and at the time I had a newborn, and it's like, no way I'm going to buy a PlayStation and just let it get dust. Like my PlayStation 2 got dust. I only had 2 games on it. I bought a PlayStation 2 and never played more than 2 games because I didn't have time at the university. So then I was like, maybe not. And then I bought this Stadia Founders Edition because it was $130. And Wasabi controller just because it looks fantastic. And then I loved it because so convenient and everything. So then I did not feel the need, because I also did not follow any game news for 40 years? Just kidding. But for at least 15 years. So I didn't know what games were important. Like those things that people feed into your brain. Oh, this game is important. This thing is important. I didn't know what was important. So Stadia was just giving me games, and I was trying all of them. I tried Guilt, and it was an amazing experience. It was one of the best things of my life. And then I tried Greed. I tried Destiny 2, and I spent 340 hours. It was the first time I had a multiplayer game with microphone in my entire life, and it was fantastic doing a raid with people. It was really fantastic experience. So Stadia really got my heart on those experiences, like for the first time. And so now just skip this part of the introduction and move forward with my guesstimates. And the scientist is just because, I was trying to find a way to use the Stadia logo on a trademark. So there's this element that's unstable, of course, because it's 117, the level, the numbers, and there's this element, just put it the scientist. That's why it's called the scientist. So I'm not Yes. Okay, there's a small delay. I'm no stranger to the community. Was just more or less like selfishly playing my games and everything. So I have a Discord of Dead by Daylight with 100 and I don't know 60 people more or less. That's public, and I never really share it anywhere. It's just people just join and play the game, and then they meet, add each other, and never use the Discord because yeah, Stadia and Discord are not necessarily um, the best friends because of the convenience, right? I also have a website for Stadia. That was the reason why I made that Twitter account where we talk. So just to write about party games, opinions about Stadia, and share things of my experience with my child now that's 4 years old. And then yeah, Scooter Ram, I made this, and I made one for Brazil, and I'm actually investing with Jack's help on trying to make streams and bring Stadia to Brazil, like the news. I made a video last Friday that has already 100 views. I also did not share anywhere. It's just people actively in Brazil searching for that, and it's a 30 minutes video, and people are still watching it. So it's impressive without advertising in a channel with 10 subscribers. I never shared anywhere how much Brazil is gonna be a hit. So just a small introduction about me, and then I did 2 videos. I just want to be useful for the community. That's my point here. That I have those 2 videos that I John really kindly hosted in his channel to help people play 100 days while making simulator. Just really, really cool. It has like a little bit more than 1,000 views here and 200 views for the advanced tips. So let's talk about numbers. Enough. So yeah, guesstimates time. Let's see how it started, right? So I saw this post by Eves that made quite the big the big hit on Twitter. And it was so exciting to see how much he was trying to tell other developers and publishers, saying, look, bring your game to Stadia. Look at that revenue we can make and how much it is the share of revenue of Stadia Pro. And I think the green here are the orange and the green are almost, I don't know, half of what Steam was. So it's really a lot of profit if you think about it. There were other platforms here. So then I wanted to just see in achievement if direct touch, because Stadia is the only one that had direct touch, was making people play more of this game. So I just compare. Steam has integrated achievement percents. So you should just open the game. You can see how many people complete in percentage, how many of this percent of the players completed each one of those achievements. And Stadia was absolutely a bummer. It does definitely not did not really correspond to how many players installed the game and ended up completing even the story achievement. It's about 3 hours of gameplay. So that was interesting to me because it tells also how convenient it is to not install the game, because you have a commitment when you install the game. You feel like you need to play it. I installed Batman Arkham in my computer. It's been 2 years and I never opened the game. I feel hurt every time I see that on my files that I did not play yet. So I guess that's the thing. I need to have the time because it's a big game. So I think Stadia is so convenient. You don't have to install and install. That might influence this behavior here, that people just open the game to see if they liked, and that's it. So you have way more people that tried than actually played the game because they don't have the commitment to buy in the Stadia Pro or to install on all Stadia. All right, so then I used SteamDB. That's a database for Steam to get estimate copies for how many copies were sold. And so I got this number of copies, and I use these proportions right here: 1.9 in Stadia and 63.2 in Steam. They're, of course, of a pie chart is 100%, so then they are proportional to each other. So just number of copy times 1.9 divided by 63, and I assumed it was 15,870 copies based on all reviews I got times 30. That's what Steam database uses, an estimate around that. So then just to get how many players there were in Steam, and I reverse calculate then. Yeah, I don't have animation, definitely. Then I reverse calculate how many Stadia copies there were, because it has to be, again, a proportion of Steam copies. It was 477. So basically, I assumed the price because at that time, Stadia did not have any sales for 100 days. So then I assumed $24 per value. Of course, there change different countries, different values, but I think it's around $24 across the board. So then you can make, then again, a reverse calculation of this amount of profit you have on Stadia being corresponded to 2.9% of the revenue. So if 2.9 is $11,000, how much is 21.7? So you can see Stadia Pro revenue, and it was 85,000. The total Stadia was almost $100,000. Well, that's just guessing based on estimates. But then Eves answered my thread, and he said revenue are on point. That was fantastic, right? I mean, I'm just literally guessing averages here, and it said 30% off because this is our net revenue. So I did not, I just used gross number of copies equals money, and that was a mistake of my part. So I correct that later on for the next slides, you'll see. But it was also still accurate, but partially accurate, almost accurate, because the Steam game sales assumption was much larger than discounted. So he shows here the gross average price goes down. People buy more in sales, which makes total sense. I do that. I wish list a game and wait until it sales, and then I buy it. So that makes total sense. So because he sold way more copies than I guessed, and I cannot share the real values, he gave me in box the real values of copies sold. At the same time, the price was smaller, so it compensated for my mistake. So that thanks to that, he gave me some data in box that I'll show you what I did with this data to guess the total number of users on Stadia platform. So I went on first because I needed here to find out how many pro users there were out of the user base. And so I went to Reddit, asked people around, and here in Stadia Connect North, we asked too in a poll how many people had Stadia Pro, and of course, Stadia Connect North had a larger percentage than Reddit, but still 68% of everybody has Stadia Pro. This was completely surprising for me. I was gonna guess much lower than that, because people that hate Stadia voice so much about it. People that leave Stadia wanted to talk about it because it was, they invested time. They suffer so much because no longer suits me. Doesn't have the game I want. And so you have this impression they're a much larger number than actually is, but more than 1,000 people answered the survey, and they're actually nice people. There was an answer for this that I'm here just for the fun, and 70-something people answered that question this way. So I think it's 74 that makes all this noise in the downvotes. Everybody else is there for Stadia. Anyways, so then I could guess how many sessions per players there were using the Stadia Hunters website. So I went to the Stadia Hunters website and just got how many sessions, the estimate, right, needed for each of the achievements. So I had there different amount of achievements, guessed the amount of hours that used based on my own usage on Stadia Hunters. So 3 hours for the story, 8 hours for other, and 30 hours for another one. So that's only 2 people here out of 100 players did 14 sessions estimate. And the majority of the players, 97% of them, only had 1 session. That was like the achievement of the duck or something, a very, very common one. So that the area under the curve here would give me the total amount of sessions per 100 players. And that was 276, the area under this curve of plotting achievement per session. And then I got 2.76 sessions per player on average. So that was my estimation. And so then, of course, I go back now to the amount of pro, and I have the Stadia total revenue estimate now corrected for net, that from the posted Yves said that it was on point, a little bit off. Divided that by 2.76, that's the amount of session per players to get an individual profit, like individual revenue. I'm saying profit here, it's the wrong word. So Stadia Pro revenue will count then for 40% of that, because 40% on, at least on Reddit, had Pro. So now that he gave me in box the total exact sales number, and I'm not going to share with you guys, I'm sorry for that. Now I had exactly how many Pro individual sessions would give them this revenue in 4 months. And I'm thinking myself very long here. I hope I'm not boring everybody.
No, it's okay. This is good. Yeah, this is good info.
All right, so then that was the last part was really, really tricky, because now I have individual revenue per sessions, individual profit revenue kind of. So now I need to know how many Pro games people play in 4 months, because I only had one. And that, I'm sure that's not only one, except for a few people that only play Destiny 2 and still pay for Pro for 4K. There are a lot of them, but yeah. So you have here my own estimate. So I looked on my accounts, just what I play for my own reasons. And it was 11 games I played Pro from November to April. That was where his pie chart was. I stopped in March because I don't think he really had the data for April at that time. In April. So then how many kid games there were? So my kids, and I was just assuming that many of us have either kids or like to play many Pro games. So that's the average. And the total mine plus his was 32 games. So my games and the games I play with my kids, my kid and my wife, those are 3 average, liberal, and conservative. They're not really average of the other 2. They're just, I just went on the history. Stadia Hunters also helped with that. So you know exactly which games you open since when. So then I multiplied that 11, right? 11 games times the profit of 1. And then again, this is, I would say a bottleneck or a limitation of my calculations, because of course, 100 days would not be representative of all 5 Pro games from November. For example, 35 had in the leaderboards of Stadia Dosage more than 100,000 people trying it. I don't know how many I bought, but I don't really know. But I imagine a lot of them was using from Pro. So, but at the same time, Merrick's Market that was launched a few months after, or very sharply after, was only at 6,000. So if you get 100,000 for Dirt 5, and then 6,000 for Merrick's Market, and divide each other, and you're gonna get more or less within 100 days winemaking simulator estimate. So then I just assumed that every month there would be a game that's gonna be a hit, and that would be a game that would be gonna be less of a hit, and then I capped 100 days as my value to be multiplied by those 11 games. Okay, so I understand if people want to disagree with that, but because I have 3 values here, I'm just assuming somewhere will be the truth, somewhere within these true estimates. So then I have Pro users estimates. That's the only thing I had, and yeah, it will be about 200,000 people if you go for the average here, and almost 300,000 total users if you use the Reddit poll to know. But if you're liberal, which it actually is more likely, you can have 400,000 total users, active users. I only know about active users, and 300,000 Pro. And which is interesting. What is interesting here is that I do not account for people that are using free accounts, because I don't know how that impact revenue. I don't know if Stadia is giving money for Pro tryouts, just people that get this first month for Pro for free, or their friends pass. I have no clue. So I imagine that even if you want to use average, there would be a certain amount of people out always, because they're in promotions that might not reflect on the revenue for the devs and the publishers. So that's really, really cool. So then, yeah, if you have questions, ask them now, because I'm going to go through real data. So then, thanks to all those after this post, It got some attention on Reddit. It got some even upvotes. It's my first thing that had upvotes, was not 0 or negative 20 something on Reddit. People enjoyed it, and I got some contact from another dev, and I cannot disclose anything. Sorry for that, but I'll give you the data. It's the real data I'm going to show you next, and it's the first time I'm showing. I did not make a public tweet about it because I don't really want to compromise, but I don't mind having it here. And I was allowed to share, but I cannot tell the game. But that's it. So there's a game that I got data from May and June that you have the exact amount of numbers players. I had a table that the devs can download per month. I had that table, and it's fantastic. I made so many tabs of that table. I explored that data. I sent it to them. They got super scared. It's like, oh my god, this guy can take so much data. This is my job. This is my job. I have a PhD in data. In science.
Sorry, just did you say then that the developers on Stadia can just download like data for themselves?
They can, about sessions and usage, how long each person uses, where they are, and they're gonna be surprised. It's really, really cool. Secret game. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a question here about the previous data. So did this 750,000 users report last year impact any of the data? I don't think so, because it was from November to April this year. So I'm guessing because November was the launching of new countries the year before, and then Cyberpunk 2077 was also launched, closed, and then Resident Evil, probably those peaks of new users or users coming back only reflected small increments. Then after that, I think it's stabilized, because again, Stadia from November to April, I don't think any big major announcement, new countries or big games were coming to justify any difference. I assume it's not impacted. But again, I'm just guessing. That's why it's called guesstimates. Yeah, so let's go for the real data here. So that's the very cool thing. So the playtime average in minutes per day, so then summing all players that play this game, 400 minutes a day or 80 hours. It's really, really cool. And you can guess it's very stable in time. So the total playtime average in hours that people are playing every day of a specific game, it's very stable in time. This is, the playtime total in hours is reducing, and I wonder if I had more data, if it was going to go up again when the Pro launches and then people go play another game. So then that's why shifting here is going down here, but up in other games. I think it makes total sense, because that's how I do too, right? I'll play a game, then I play another game. And most of them are Pro. That's really cool. And here, I know exactly when this game was launched. So then I could make a formula here. So because, of course, you can make a, the linear regression, right? Yeah, of this curve. And then I have this this literally curve, right? This line here. This line has a formula. X equals y equals x plus something. If it's linear, and I think in this case it has to be linear, because the amounts don't vary a lot. So I can go back in time and know exactly how many people played day one. I remember Jack was super excited about a Centipede Atari game that had more than 1,000 people trying the first day on the leaderboard. So that's what I would have. I would have exactly how many. You go back in time and know exactly how many tried the first day, second day, third day. That would be really cool. Assuming, of course, this curve goes back and forth forever, so it's also going to reach very close to 0 at some point. The total sessions, total player here were very different from my previous estimate. I had way more sessions, 2.76 if you remember well, per player, and this one is much less. I think it's 1.7, I think. And what is cool here, so the total amount of hours of this specific game in a month was 1,700 hours. For it's an indie game, you can imagine the amount of players that played was 2,451 on that month, almost a year after launch. And the total amount of sessions 3,000. And another curiosity that I thought was really really cool is the session per countries. So session per player and hours per player are uncoupled, right? You have session per players really high in Brazil and Mexico, and what is very impressive, I love it. I opened the table
So-
and looking at the countries, and they're there. Stadia knows
two
it came from Brazil.
So two countries that aren't officially supported have the highest amount of. Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, players that
I
People
wonder-
are
They
determined.
probably took that in mind when like looking where should we launch next. Well, there's a lot of people in Mexico trying, so
Absolutely. I'm sure they know that. They know
Yeah.
that. It's right there on the table. If you just like separate, filter by country, Brazil is there, Australia is there, and Mexico is there. People are trying countries. I think Luxembourg. I'm sure there was Luxembourg somewhere. I don't know if I plotted it. Lithuania. I don't know if it's launched there. It might be. And unknown countries. That was impressive to see too. So that's really really cool that Stadia knows even if you're using a VPN where it's reporting to. So it's really really exciting. And then I plot this in different ways just to show United States have the most amount of players and the most amount of sessions. Proportionally in population is also true. So then I made the curve in a way that you can see the countries with more players per country. So the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Canada, Spain, Italy. So almost follows like a population curve, I'd say. And when I do player per million inhabitants, Canada wins the winner. So Canada's the one, the country with the most amount of players per million people of Stadia. So you could say the best country for revenue is Canada if you have to invest
There you
any
go.
money. And Norway, which is also impressive, and Sweden was really high. So that's more or less what I had. The last slide I wrote about conclusions is I've tried to say it as I was speaking that I think Stadia players are not as completionist as Team, and we can discuss this here because I think it's because you don't have the commitment installing a game, occupying space on an SSD, or like that commitment. I need to finish before I uninstall. I think that impacts how easy you just give up. Like, I'm not gonna play this game. It did not kick in. I didn't like it. I think when I install the game and I start playing on Steam, I need to go through it. I hated Cuphead. I love the art. It's beautiful, but I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at it. You can't believe how bad I am at the game. And so, but I kept trying, and because I installed it, and so that was this community. I give up.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point, because with Stadia, like you can just like you mentioned, you don't really have the commitment of like you installed it and you have that space taken up. You can flip so easy to play whatever game you want, and it doesn't matter, right? Like, I mean, okay, so I tried this for 10 minutes. I don't like it. I'm not gonna, I don't feel like I have to play this to get my time or money's worth from it. It's just because it's so easy, so carefree, so casual. And I think that's what like some of your data here will show too, is that, like you said, on Stadia here, that there's not as a hardcore completionist as to say on Xbox or PlayStation, like, because those are known as hardcore gamer platforms. And we can see that Stadia is more for that casual, at ease, pick up and play whatever you want to do type deal. So this is pretty awesome. I love all the data that you've had in there. I know you, like you said, you have a PhD in data analysis. Is that correct?
No,
So PhD stand for pretty huge.
it's a doctorate. I have a doctorate in immunology. I worked
okay.
in vaccines for more than 10 years, and
Mhm.
yeah, so that I actually had a science communication role during COVID. I have a paper on COVID. It's a scientific paper on COVID. Yeah, so I do work at that, but I can extract data from tables. I mean, that's my
Mhm.
job, right? Because you analyze that data, you do experiments, you get it. So I know how to look at it and start extracting it in different ways, and that's why I think why it was so impressive for the devs when I just emailed them a report of it, like a PDF with the graphs and they stuff that
Wow.
yeah related to even country taste things I didn't put here because I did not want to disclose which game it is, not even by a little, but I send them
Mhm.
very cool information. I have other information that I can share verbally, is that the session, the money dollar per session that my estimates for before for 100 days, and the estimate there was $1 per session, but the real estimates for May was $1.4 per session, which would make every $10, like every pay subscriber would be 6 sessions per month only. So I really guess people repeat games more than we think. Um, like people that are, instead of doing like 32 games in 4 months like me and my son do, I think the majority of players play few games, like two
Mhm.
3 games a month, very casually,
This-
and half an hour per session on average.
Okay. So you're saying by your calculations there, if a game's on Stadia Pro, they get about $1.40 US per session.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. And if you
And
want
we know
to
that
just open a game.
each user, yeah, so each user can have one unique session a day.
Yeah.
So is there anything where like and I don't know if you're allowed to say or not, like a certain time, like is there, were you able to get the information as like what counts as a session?
At least according to the table, 13 seconds is enough.
Oh,
So literally
Okay.
open the game and waiting until it reaches menu, I think it's enough. Like, remember GeForce Now and God of War, when it was leaving, people were saying open until the menu and it would be recorded. I think that is the same for Stadia. As soon
Okay.
as you reach the menu, it's bye bye. It's a session. You get the revenue. It's hard to say
Uh,
if you can get more than one session per day per play. I mean, if I open the same game twice, it would not count twice because you have a player ID and you have the game ID. But that's complicated amount of numbers you have sometimes if you're looking at the browser. It shows up in this table. But I guess I don't have tables from other games to compare how many games per day will open a session. I guess it's infinite. So I can open all 50 pro games and help all them with $1.40, but then it's gonna reduce to $1 to 70 cents. So as the more sessions you have, the more the money will reduce if the amount of
yeah.
players don't increase, right?
Right. Yep, for sure. And like Vivi says here, the dollar session amount will vary though depending on how many games a player plays. So yeah, just like you had mentioned there here, it's
Mm-hmm.
all it's very lucrative for the developers, as you said there, because we saw that chart that he posted, and that Stadia revenue out of his overall, like it was second only to Steam,
Yeah,
right?
and
And
that
that's
will pass
that's pretty
Steam.
awesome.
That will pass Steam. If you want to just stop sharing so we can increase the size of the camera, you can. I don't have any other graph to show. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I can tell you for a fact that I kept talking with Eves. I mean, not very long after that, but if he gave me the sales number, I wanted to give him a feedback. And he talked about himself, like he does not play games he gets for free, even very good
Mhm.
games like Mass Effect is coming to Prime this month, and if he gets for free, he doesn't play. Yeah, that was something he told me. I think there's also this commitment to games you buy.
Mhm.
Um, but what he said was that it's beautiful that Stadia gives a steady source of income, which
Yeah.
literally means, imagine that curve you have that was showing that going down.
Mhm.
It's going down slowly, very slowly, amount of players per day. But that gives $1.4 per whatever 150 players that were there every day. Steam, after you sell the game, that's the revenue. So
Right,
Steam
that's
revenue
it.
was 68% in April, but then it's going to be 50% in May, and it's going to be 40% in June,
Mhm.
and Stadia is only going to get bigger and bigger as long as players keep playing.
Yeah.
I even told at the time when I was still estimating $1 per session, and I told him, let's make the wine day. There are so many wine days. Every country has one. So just everybody in Stadia open the game, and then he gets like 30,000 euros.
Oh my gosh. So Primo had asked here, I guess I had missed it earlier. He said, I would love to see what you can do with user interaction and growth data on Stadia over time and future predictions.
I would love to have that.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can ask them, but I think if the game is going down in usage, I would love to be able to get a new dev table, like something that just came up this month. But I can tell you another thing that I get from Merrick's Market leaderboard and Stadia dosage that I didn't plot, but with 6,300 leaderboard people, they had a lot of money. If you multiply that by 1.4 per session times 2.76 session per player, like if every player opened it 2.76 time on average, they got, I don't know, a good amount of money, like $40,000. And the estimated sales copy of Merrick's Market and Steam would not give them even 10,000. So Stadia is the major source of Merrick's Market profit for 100% certainty. I had no doubt.
Awesome.
So the data that you showed then, obviously I know you can't say what game it was. I'm not trying to like work out what it was, but just for an idea of like numbers and players kind of thing. Can you tell like between single developer to Ubisoft AAA, where does the game lie in terms of like the game size, developer size kind of thing? Is it
I think
big game, small game?
Yeah, it's a small game, but it's very successful small game. Yeah, I would say imagine like Centipede level. I mean, very popular, but still indie.
Okay,
I guess a third of the players to 40% of the players would try it out. I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's awesome because we've said it from time and time again. Like games like Centipede, they'll end up. I can guarantee it. If you were able to get that data 6 months ahead here, they're going to make so much more with Stadia Pro revenue rather than just that that quick $15 sale or whatever it is minus the percentage that Stadia takes or whatever. Because like you said, once they get that money, that's it. But with Stadia Pro, the more times people play it, and as the user base grows, the more money that they can earn for it. So,
which I think makes sense when you see posts on Twitter like asking like what's your high score, because it gets people back on the game. They're kind of enticing you to come back in and load it back up and see if you can beat this score.
Just that's beautiful. I mean, think about it. Like just asking people, "What was your score?" and makes you open the game. They get $1, $40 out of that.
You open it to look at your score. That's $1.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean that's amazing. And it's just that chain effect. Like you said. Scientists will go, hey, Craig, my score was 100,000. What did you get? You'll open it up. You say, oh, well, I had 120,000. And then scientist goes back and says, well, I'm going to beat his score. And I think any game that has any type of replay value or multiplayer game definitely benefits the most on Stadia Pro because they're going to get that continued revenue growth. And, honestly, I really think that was a brilliant idea for Google coming up with that.
Oh, absolutely. Like you say, games will have like daily tasks. Like you can just load a game up dead quick, do a task that you need to do, and then back out in 5 minutes. That kind of game is going to do really well.
Elder Scrolls Online is supporting the Stadia, and I'm guessing that's how. You have to go every day and to feed your horse.
So yeah, exactly, right? So Granite has a question where he says, curious, if the session math is per player or just by overall user base. For example, if only if I only play one game one day in a month, is my contribution only $1.40 and the rest of my sub pays for other players' games?
I think so. Yeah, I cannot share that right now, but I'll give you the Yeah, I did a yearly profit that would be, I don't know, Stadia. Again, I call profit it's revenue because I don't know the tax on it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I do in total millions, then divide that by player. That's how I did. So yeah, your money goes up to a pool of money of everybody else, and if you don't use it, you're just giving money to Stadia or to the dev, which is beautiful
Right.
because yeah.
Yeah.
So Stadia stays with so little of this money. If you imagine, like, if they had to pay 10 million for Capcom to bring Resident 7, Resident Evil 8, um, they make that a year out of Stadia Pro with this 200,000 players, active users. So because they share 85%, right? If you take 85 to 15, I mean, that's not totally true, but I guess it's kind of between that 15 and 30% stays with Stadia and the rest goes to the publishers. I'm guessing Stadia stays with little of this money for now.
Right.
So they're still there. I think they're now. I don't know how much it costs for Google. I think Google does
Right.
not know it either. They don't care about that. Like, I have money to burn, but I
Right.
think the Google Cloud servers probably are, I don't know, free or shared cost with other services, it's YouTube
Right.
and Google Cloud itself. So I don't know, but I imagine Stadia now it pays for itself. And the reason why we're not seeing those big increments on AAA, like $10 million to bring one game, is probably because they're now using their own revenue. Like, they became adults within Google. They passed 5 years of age, and that's how startups within companies do. After 5 years, they need to survive. So now I think Stadia is profitable. Honestly speaking, it's not like super profitable, but it's steadily profitable. So then Google is not giving them, I'll give 10 million, 10 million here, 10 million there. I think they're doing a great job by themselves getting this revenue.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll just compound over time as well, and it'll take off naturally doing it. It's not an overnight thing like a lot of people wish it was. It is going to be just slow compound and over time. Steady growth.
Exactly right. Instead of dishing out those tens of millions of dollars, what they're doing is they're investing long term. And although that might result in maybe not as many of the big AAA games coming right away, this helps build the user base, the amount of developers, diversify the games, so that in maybe 3 to 5 years, it's more attractive for those big AAA companies to bring their games over. And of course, we've seen other incentives that they've done, certification process, the tools to make it easy to bring the games over. So I think the overall package is like, some people really don't realize like what an amazing thing this is, and what it means for developers. Is like, this was like such an ingenious way of doing things and attracting more developers and users to the platform, really.
And I think it's a little better than for the dev side of it. And I cannot speak for the dev side more than what I looked with my own eyes. But I can say I have the impression that it's better for devs than Xbox Game Pass. It's very profitable. Game Pass shown that they increase their revenue. It's really good for them. And I am 100% certain that has to be true, because it's the same model kind of as Stadia, but Stadia uses sessions. But at the same time, I think because the launch is not per month and don't claim the games, they're just there, you don't open them. I had PC Game Pass for almost 6 months, and I installed 2 games. Literally just 2 games. Everything else I just get overwhelmed by that. But Stadia gives me 5, and then I play those 5. I at least open once each one of those 5 most of the time, unless I already had it, which happens.
I think because there's like 200 games or whatever on Game Pass, it can be hard to think, right, I'm going to play a game, what I'm going to play. Whereas if you get 5 or 6 that drop into your library every month, you're kind of choosing between one of those 5 or 6. It's easier. You haven't got that decision fatigue or scrolling through looking at it.
I think
so. You're more likely to get your game played on Stadia, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot more awareness on Stadia in the store wise. I mean, you think of it like on the Android store or the Apple store. If someone brings a game there, right? Like, where the chances of discovery on there are so low, because there's like billions and billions of different games there. With a slow but steady release of games on Stadia, you get more in the spotlight.
Mhm.
So, the games like Centipede, where someone will say, oh, well, Centipede Recharge, like, that game is crap. I hate it or whatever. Well, no, we're actually give it a chance and see, it's not like the best game ever, but it's fun. It's challenging to play with your friends to see, who can get the highest score. And it was included on my Stadia Pro subscription. So, you really don't think of having us to pay for it because that $10 or, every month is already like out of your mind there. So these games are just, you just think of them as being free.
Yeah, and I can also say that your show, the Stadia Connect North, is a reason for me to try at least many games, like including Merrick's Markets. I saw the interview, was like, oh, let's play this game. I have it, and I never tried. It looked for kids, and I was like, I'm not necessarily gonna like it.
Right.
And I tried just because of the interview, and I liked the people, the way they talk, and I think this is also another source, and that the Stadia community helps the devs on top of the system of Stadia helping the devs. That's why I was making the joke, like telling Eves to make a wine day, and then people just open a glass of wine and open the game and play for half an hour. And
right, there you go, right?
Everybody will be happy, right? Everybody wins. And
yeah,
it's me from the community getting a graph he posted and trying to make it help him, and the way your show helps them too. And I think it's really, really cool. So such a healthy relationship this community
has. Yves is so amazing. Of course, we had him on the show. It's been at least half a year now, if not more. But he is so open, so frank. Like, he'll tell you exactly how it is. And the fact that he shared that information on Twitter was amazing, because he even, it was such a powerful message, because he even says, like, indie devs, if you don't have your game on Stadia, what are you doing? Like, you need to get your game on there. Look what you can make. Like, this really opened a lot of eyes. And I know people use those graphs and those bits of data when reaching out to other developers, saying, hey, have you ever thought about bringing your game to Stadia? And then, you kind of include it in the sales pitch package, right? And people realize, they're like, wow, okay, maybe there's not like a super huge amount user base, but it's growing, and the amount of money you can make, it is well worth it. So
definitely, I think, like,
hats off.
You do see a lot of the pro games are from the same publishers as well. So I think the reason for that is because they've kind of done it once and gone, yeah, there's money there, let's do it again with the next one. And I 100% I would put money on the fact that the next game from Yves, I know you shared, like, they're working on a new project now, I would put me on that coming to pro, because looking at the revenue, why wouldn't he? Do it would definitely
exactly right. Like, we talked with Voldy at Way Forward, and he's like, I want all our games on Stadia Pro. He said Dawn of the Monsters. It was I can't mention what the top platform was, but Stadia was a very close second revenue wise to another platform that's got a substantial user base. And it was Stadia Pro, right? Yeah. So, like, this
hopefully,
is the more that they find out, that developers find out about Stadia Pro and it spreads, the more popular it becomes in the games. Absolutely. It's like a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's been a win for Laser Dog.
Yes.
Really hoping it's turned their situation around, and I know I've been playing it every day.
Yes. Oh yeah. Death Run TV. Again, another, like, that is, it just makes sense to put that game on Pro, because you're going back, just like Centipede and many other games, to get that high score, and see if you can beat it or compare it to your friends, and they're getting paid for it, right? So,
and again, they shared on Twitter asking what your high score was. So I think there's a trend forming there.
Yeah, right.
absolutely, yeah.
Exactly.
Let's wait for
it's-
Eve's next game if there's a scoreboard, a leaderboard or not. He also is learning that lesson.
Scoreboard.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, worldwide to see that. Primo here is saying, I think keeping the pro library between 50 to 70 games for newcomers is great because it'll encourage them to stay on to grow it. Plus, as someone mentioned earlier, it helps the developers with revenue. So that's a good point. Not making it too overwhelming, but making it plenty and bountiful enough. We saw what Outriders just in the last couple of months went to Stadia Pro. And now we see, the World Slayer, they've got a timed trial on that. So you could try that and say, oh, I like it. And, so I think things are starting to slowly unfold. Like Craig had mentioned earlier, maybe not as fast as what some people would like, but I think things are starting to come in place with these tools, with the certification, with the Stadia Pro revenue. I think over the next year, we're going to start to see things pick up and start to grow here at a modest rate.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think what is more impressive of all to me is the CEO changes. Now the games are searchable as a link. So you put like Cyberpunk 2077, you might find a state, click to demo. It's straight from there. And if you sign up, like if you try it out, imagine a person that was as me, I was in 2019, absolutely not really willing to buy a console because I didn't know if it was gonna like. The games are too complicated. I thought I loved Mega Man, and I'm so bad at it that I actually hate Mega Man. But
Yeah.
Like you have something just to click and try. I don't have to buy or install like I did for Mega Man, and you click on it. And I think this link is already what we saw in the last Stadia Connect long ago, saying that if you click a link from your website and then they sign for Pro, you're gonna get the $10 straight for you. I'm thinking that this demo is the same model. It's just never announced. I'm thinking because why would have 75 games? Like everybody's so interested on it because they can put in their website. Resident Evil has it right there. You click, you can open Stadia demo in seconds. I did in an anonymous
as well. Like a lot of publishers on Twitter lately. I think today I've seen like Fogs and Kate Bash both tweet saying, "Hey, you can play 30 minutes of our game. Just click here." And it's like.
Yeah. So how many of those demos or trials do we have now? Well over 75, right? Like I think like it's at least got to be up into 80, and we're seeing new games too get those as well. So if this trend continues, like that's a perfect way. Like a new game comes out, it launches on Stadia. You can also try it for 30 minutes first and see if you'll like it or not. Because I think what that does is rather than, of course you can still buy it and before 2 hours you can, refund it. But that's, a long drawn out process and it's manpower and all this other stuff.
With the free trials, you don't need to like put any card details. You don't need an account. So rather than signing up, buying it, refunding it, just play it.
Yeah, just giving them this 30-minute demo is amazing. And I'm actually shocked at like games like Grime that give you 2 hours to try the game.
You could speed run.
Exactly. I remember, they tweet it, say, please don't speed run the game and beat it in the demo, But, it's great to see things slowly start to come in place. And then again, the Saints Row news today is just another cherry on the top of these last couple of weeks. Stadia news has been very positive and lots of new things coming and whatnot. So
it's been fantastic. I'm in high expectations for when this thing launches in Brazil. Another thing that I found is a great advantage, as they're pointing out, John, you're mentioning trying out the game, and Peter too. I think what happens is even other platforms benefit from it because you want to buy a game, you don't have a demo in your own platform. You just click on Stadia, try it out, and then you buy in your own. And other things that happen, like my best friends from Dead by Daylight, best friends in the sense of people that play with me more, they all moved on because Dead by Daylight, there is the lag input makes a small difference, right? Because the killer hits you by 0.001
Right.
second.
Yeah.
So then they went on to buy a console, and then they installed the game, bought the game again on that console.
Mhm.
And so that Stadia is bringing people, non-gamers like me, to become a gamer, a casual gamer, and then you
Mhm.
buy your own platform. So it's helping everyone. There's no even reason to hate it. Like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
no, PlayStation is
It-
better.
it-
Like, like measuring who's
I've
better,
seen
who's
some people
bigger.
complaining that Saints Row's coming to Stadia. Like, people are actually complaining because it's coming to Stadia. As I can't get on Steam. Why would you launch it on that platform for 12 people to play it? Like, just play it on Stadia then. It's like, play it
Yeah,
on your
like
PC on Stadia.
right. It's such a silliness, and people get so petty on all these little particulars. And I even saw someone saying, "Oh well, Google paid so it wouldn't be on Steam." Well, the more likely scenario is Epic probably paid to get the exclusive to be on PC, that PC store first before Steam. So it's just a lot of ignorance out there on the
Absolutely.
internet that people don't understand, and that same old tired joke of two
What was
people,
it?
12
I remember
people.
Kate summed it up perfectly. I can't remember what it was now, but he's like saying it's like complaining to Wendy's because Burger King tastes better than McDonald's.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
what?
yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, it's just the silliest thing. But we're gonna this is great talk here. I'm gonna transition, so I want to be mindful of the time here. Transition on. I want to talk about the Stadia blog post that we got just yesterday here. Um, there was a mini. I guess Ubisoft was branding it as adding the Ubisoft Connect to it. So like a mini Ubisoft Connect where we had the official gameplay reveal of Skull and Bones and a release date here. Of course, this game is also coming to Stadia. It's only available on what are now the current gen. So PlayStation 5, Series X. It's going to be on PC, Stadia, and also Luna itself. So we got some information on here, and we'll go through. We actually even got more info from Ubisoft about some games coming up here. Basically, it's saying here today during the Ubisoft Forward live stream event, which was yesterday on Thursday, we saw a new glimpse of the perilous world of Skull and Bones, the open world multiplayer game from Ubisoft, where players can build their own pirate empire. It's now available pre-order and launches on November the 8th. Within the Stadia store, you can pre-order it there, or you can also claim it with Ubisoft Plus. Now, I think this game here, this is the first game that it's launching. There are like first party titles on PlayStation. There's also some third party titles that are on PlayStation and Series X only that are a premium price, so they're more expensive. So they're $10 more. This is the first game since it's, we'll say, next gen only. It's launching on Stadia at that same premium price. Instead of, I know in the US, instead, what is it? It's $70 US, and in Canada here it's $90. I'm sure in the UK, Craig, it's probably, I don't know if it's 70
Yeah,
70 there. Yeah,
69, yeah.
yeah, something like that. So there's a little bit of controversy over that. But if you've got the Ubisoft Plus, you can always claim the game there. So that might be a good way to play it if the price kind of puts you off a bit. It's got full cross play and cross progression, which is awesome. This is a trend we're seeing with Ubisoft there. So no matter what platform you play it on, you can pick it up and left, right exactly where you left off. You can pick it up and start right there.
I'd be willing to drop some money though, like £70 per console or per platform. It's
Yeah, it is. And I know some people said, maybe if you take a wait and see approach, maybe a couple months later, it'll go on sale,
Yeah.
inevitably, because like Ubisoft games do. So, you pay that premium price for getting to play it first. It says, in addition, today's marks the arrival of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. So that came out. That was the game people were waiting for on Stadia. This open world shooter straps you into the boots of Sergeant Rex Colt, a Mark IV cyber commando fighting against cyborg, bloods, dragons, and mutants. Your mission: get the girl, kill the baddies, and save the world. Claim it today at no additional cost with an active Ubisoft Plus. So again, the Ubisoft Plus there. Or you can buy it in the store right away. Finally, we're looking forward to other Ubisoft games coming soon to Stadia. Valiant Hearts: The Great War. We saw that was announced as coming soon. Well, it will be out a week from today, so July the 15th. And we got an update that Far Cry 4 will be coming to Stadia by the end of the year. There's no set date on that on those games. So a little bit of information from Ubisoft there about their upcoming games. And with Skull and Bones here, like we said here, standard edition, $69.99 USD. Here in Canada, that's $89.99. And other places accordingly. It says, at the end of the 17th century, tales of a legendary heist attract young outcasts from all over the world in search of untold fortunes. Ordinary men and women head far from home, armed with only their instincts to survive. They risk it all for a chance to attain immeasurable riches. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through a little bit here and then show a gameplay trailer. Maybe you guys can give your thoughts on if this is a game that interests you or whatnot. And actually, let's actually do that now while I'm talking here. We are going to stop share this here, and we're going to get this Chrome tab. Skull and Bones. Here we go. Let's see. Okay. It might be a little janky here on my end. Of course, everything plays fine before, but you know the way it goes when you're live. So, so the game features your ship, your playstyle. Craft and sail up to 12 different ships with varied speed, health, and capacity. Head into a full frontal assault or precisely target enemy weak points. Each ship has unique perks that allow you to adapt your purposes and can be further customized to suit your playstyle. So that's pretty cool. 12 different ships, all unique. They've all got their each, pluses and minuses and perks. And here's a big thing, because I know like a lot of Assassin's Creed fans love this. Brutal naval combat. Engage in thrilling naval battles as you risk it all for the biggest prize. Equip a multitude of powerful weapons, such as cannons, mortars, torpedoes, and more to outgun other ships and attack forts. Use captain tools, such as your spyglass, to identify new opportunities like trade routes or wealthy merchant ships, and scope out your enemy's weakness. Reputation is power. Grow your infamy in order to upgrade your equipment. As you complete a variety of contracts from vendors, local factions, and kingpins in the world, you'll gain access to more resources and opportunities on your journey to become an infamous pirate. Craig, I'm interested in hearing what are your thoughts on this game. Now that we've got like a release date, we've seen some gameplay, we know what it's about. Like, what do you think about this game? Is this something that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm really excited about it. Can't put my finger on why, but maybe it's because I just want to be Captain Jack Sparrow. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. I've pre-ordered it, so I'll be streaming it, obviously, probably on the day it releases. Nice. As I'm sure you probably will, John, as well. Yep. But yeah, I just think it looks brilliant, and it's got a lot to it as well. The whole infamy progression thing sounds good to me, and the different types of ships. I know when we're watching the live stream, like you say, like the cargo ship's slower, but you've got more room for carrying loot and stuff like that. And when you die, you can go back and loot your own stuff back, or someone else can beat you to it. That kind of thing. I just think it just sounds really in depth and really, really well thought out. Obviously, it took a long time to make it. First announced it years ago, but looks like it's been worthwhile. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Yeah, and it's so awesome that they're including the cross play and cross progression, because it's just going to make that world that you play in even more like populated and fun and alive and real.
Absolutely. As much as I love Stadia, I think games are kind of, I don't want to say ruined, but you definitely suffer a little bit when there isn't crossplay. So thankfully this does have it, because I don't think it would be quite the same if it didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. The scientists, Mr. Polidoro, what are your thoughts on this lovely pirate game here?
Yeah, well, I have no previous expectations from this because I never played anything similar. But I played the battles on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That you have boats and you can also fight with the sheeps. I find it repetitive. I'm imagining from the gameplay videos you're showing and the other videos I've saw that this one has way more replayability than the sheep battles on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because it has a system of progression and difficulties. So I'm guessing it's gonna be awesome. But I wait for a promotion to try it out, or even if they had the trials, I would try it first to see if it's my jam or not, because it's hard to know. The graphics are beautiful. People are saying so big things about it. Even the devs, how happy they are with the game, that it gets me excited. But I don't want to pre-order, so it's not a pre-order for me for now.
Yeah. I mean, you make a good point there. You know, you're taking the kind of wait and see approach to it. It would be amazing for Ubisoft and Stadia to come up with that 30-minute trial, just like we got with Outriders, right? World Slayer, a perfect way to get people in here, just like the scientist. He's not too sure, you know, he thought, it might be okay, but I don't want to fork out that money. Well, we might be able just to trap him in here with a 30-minute trial, and at the end of the 30 minutes he'll he could definitely be say like, wow, I really had fun, like this is a game.
We can get another demo like we did of was it Phoenix Rising?
Yeah.
The Ubisoft title as well. I mean, that was like just playable on Stadia, was it, demo, and that was one of the earliest demos, I think, or the earliest demo you can play on Stadia. It'd be nice to see that again from Ubisoft, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I know a lot of Assassin's Creed Black Flag fans and love that the naval battle and things like that. So I'm looking forward to this. There, I know, like I said, that price is it's $10 more than usual. So I think that might cause some people like a wait and see. So hopefully they have some type of a demo or a trial. Again, always Ubisoft Plus, you can claim it in there. And I guess another good reason, if you're a big fan of the Ubisoft games, to be able to play the games there without putting out all that money.
Sorry, just to clarify Bjorn's point there, I mean, like, when I say demo, I mean demo before the game's released, not like the trial, but like a few weeks before the game comes out, so you can try it, still pre-order it.
That would be fantastic. Yeah. For Resident Evil Village, that made a difference.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Well, it did. Just next, though, couldn't gen. Need to stop saying next gen, but just being that, if someone's still got like an older Xbox or PS4, and they're thinking about getting a PS5 or Series X, then you can play the game as a demo in the clouds, and then, like you say, before Scientist Show, you can then go out and buy the console if it's right for you. It's what choose to do.
Yeah, exactly. Paul's in the chat here. He says, you know what? Probably by Black Friday, it'll be up to 30% off. So
that's
they're always go on sales there. Like you said, you pay that premium to be the first to play. So let's go ahead. We're going to get back to some of the news here. Again, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. That's out. I know Paul, Mr. Bayram Plays here. Paul bought that and was playing that and is telling me that he's having fun with that. So this is on my to buy list. $15 US, not a bad price. It we'll just briefly go over here. It says the year 2007. It's the future. So I found that kind of funny there.
Yeah.
Your Sergeant Rex Colt Mark IV Cyber Commando. The year is 2007 and Earth has been ravaged by a nuclear war which erupted in the 90s. The East versus the West conflict has raged for generations, and humanity continues to struggle to progress after a disastrous decade. Have either of you had a chance to play this yet, or are interested in Far Cry 3 here, Blood Dragon?
I haven't yet, but I am interested.
Mm-hmm.
I've say I've got too many of that type of game, well story based type thing that I need to
Yeah.
still need to finish Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Far Cry 5 and so I need to stop buying games and just hold off a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely the same
exactly.
for me. I mean, I think we said the advantage for the devs that Stadia gives 5-6 games a month, but there's a
Mhm.
disadvantage to that is that I still haven't touched any of the games I bought this month yet. I'm just playing the Pro, and Roguebook is just fantastic. I saw VV Play saying the Roguebook is going to be the winner this
Yes.
month. I don't think it will be the
Mhm.
winner because I got frustrated after I played almost 6 hours in 2 days. It's just like addicted to it. It's amazing. And then I got
Mhm.
frustrated because I got to the last boss and I died. I got to the last boss and I died. And the third time in the same day, I was like, come on. So I went back to Centipede
Yeah.
and Five Nights at Freddy. I'm almost finishing. I saw you're struggling on your live.
Yes. Yeah.
A
Yesterday,
daycare.
my
I
Five
hate
Nights
that
at
daycare.
Freddy's. Yeah.
Oh my
I got
god.
so turned around in that play structure there. I couldn't know which was left from right, up from down, and it was just like,
Yeah,
oh my
I had to
gosh.
go on, and when it's still light,
Mhm.
the sun does not pursue inside that playground thing, so you can go
Oh.
and learn by heart the order you're gonna do. So I go first to the blue, and then to the yellow, and then to the red, and then
Uh-huh.
to the green, and then to the pink, and it works very well.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I
Yeah.
will be in your next live just to make sure
Okay.
I'll guide you
Okay.
around.
I will need it for sure, because I think the first time I tried it, I got 3 out of the 5, and then I spent like the next 20 minutes trying, and I could only get 2 out of the 5. So,
It's super
yeah, I'll
hard.
definitely need help
I took a long
help
time.
from
Took
you.
notes and everything. It was so hard.
Yeah.
But
Oh
yeah,
my
that's
gosh.
why I don't try new games. I'm not gonna try Far Cry 3, but I know it's the best one. I've read it.
Mhm.
I read online because I love Far Cry 5, and I played the 6 free weekend. I forbid myself to buy it until I finish 5 because it's a shame I didn't finish. But I will buy 6 and then I'll buy 3. But I read all of
Mhm.
them, and 3 is supposed to be the one that shifted things around because people complain that Ubisoft repeats formula. 3
Mhm.
was totally innovative, and the story is amazing. Everybody loves. I even watched someone playing live today on YouTube. So I really think it's going to be an amazing game. $15 is so cheap, even you don't
Yeah.
need to wait
Yeah.
for a
Even
promotion.
though it's cheap, I'm kind of kicking myself because in the sale I was tempted to get Far Cry 6. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I won't. But then obviously the sale ended, and then Far Cry 3 came out as well. And I'm like, I should have just got 6. I should have got it when I had the chance to get it.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon. You got to have them all, right?
Yeah,
Even if you don't have the time to play, I gotta
no,
have it
no.
because eventually, at some point, I will. Um,
Put them all in
and
right.
yeah, exactly right. And then the last bit of news there: the Valiant Hearts, the Great War. That's also coming to Stadia next Friday here. This is another, $15 game. I personally haven't played it, but I've heard lots of good stuff about this game. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, it's like priced at that point where it's like an impulse buy. Like, even if you're kind of like, oh, I'm not sure. Well, $15, I'll go ahead and, get it. Or again, if you've got Ubisoft Plus, you can just claim it there as well. So there is like, there's no shortage of games to play on Stadia, from a wide variety of different genres. Everyone I talk to who plays on Stadia, we all have the same thing. We've got such a big backlog of games, and it puzzles when you hear some people say, "Oh, well, there's nothing on there." So it is what it is, but we'll move on from there. As also part here, Ubisoft is going to have a traditional Ubisoft forward. So last year I think they had it at E3, and then again later on in the year. They're having it September the 10th this year. So they'll have a full Ubisoft Connect here on the 10th, and we'll get to see new games. I'm sure they'll show info about Just Dance 2023 or 2024 and some other games as well. So looking forward to that. But it was great to get that early glimpse of Skull and Bones, because I think like people have been waiting for it because it's been in development for several years now. So it's great to actually be able to see this, play, hear the backstory and all that stuff. So I think that was really, really good and smart of Ubisoft. I'm sure we'll hear more about Avatar as well. My brain's drawing a blank there, but I know there are several different games that Ubisoft is up and coming that people are excited to hear about. So hopefully we'll hear all that good news on the 10th.
Get a XDefiant release date if it's not.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yep.
What about the roller one that you played in another platform?
Oh yeah, Roller Champions.
Champions.
I'm hoping that comes to Stadia soon. It's out now. So it launched on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. They added Nintendo Switch on the 1st of July. So we're still waiting for it on Stadia. I'm hoping within the next month or two. And again, that would be a perfect. I know it's free to play, but put it as Stadia Pro and give us a little bit of, some cosmetics with it, and they'll be able to make that money each session like we saw with your reports there. I think that would be the smartest thing for them to do. Throw it into Stadia Pro. Still have it free to play, that you don't have to have Stadia Pro, but also have a Stadia Pro version as well that gives you, like Super Bomberman R Online did. They give you some cosmetics, right? Yeah. They give you a couple of outfits to play, and you're going to play that there. So
yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully that's in the next.
Well. So there's like the normal free version, then there's like the premium edition on Pro.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That makes sense there.
Yeah, someone asked that in the chat, right? Someone asked, what about a game that came as Pro, like Destiny 2 or PUBG, and then became free to play? I have absolutely zero clue. I have no data to support how that is impacting their revenue. If a session I open now, my PUBG was claimed.
Yes,
but it's not free to play. Like, are they giving up all this money? I have no clue. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that might be a reason why we see you can't buy your Stadia Pro games that you've claimed. Probably because it's the revenue sharing things, like because we'll call it a license, it was Stadia Pro, so they're giving that money, and if you purchase it outright, then are you giving that monthly contributing to the pool? Are you doing a one-time?
I can talk about that because it appears on the session table.
Okay.
Yeah, it does appear on the session when you have sessions of paid people. Mm-hmm. So that absolutely 100% certain does not give them any revenue. So I know exactly how many players play Pro and how many did bought the game, and I can even make that proportion, and it was similar to 60% of people, 70% of people having Pro on the specific game, and 30% paying for the game. But yeah, it's separated. So then if you buy a game that you have on Pro, the publisher will lose money.
Yeah.
In 15 sessions, about 10 sessions.
Yeah. See, so I think that's the reason why I'd always had thought in my mind it had to do something with that, because they make that contract with Stadia for a certain amount of time, the 6 months or however long they're going to be in Stadia Pro, and then they're counting on that type of revenue incoming stream and things like that. And then if someone who claimed it there then buys it, now that messes up. So yeah, it's good to hear that like you can verify that yes, it's separated by, when they look at their reports, by pro and non-pro players themselves. Yeah. So yeah, that's good info here. Alrighty, so we know an official Ubisoft forward is coming on September the 10th. We'll get some more info here probably soon. I wanted to also highlight the Cloud Gaming Championship on Stadia Summer 22. It's back this weekend. The first game of the championship is, or the tournament, I should say, is going to be announced. Remember, it's free to sign up. It doesn't cost a single thing. This is going to be the third one now. We had summer, winter, and now we're back to summer. So it's been about a year here, and week one starts July the 18th. So if I remember correctly, that's going to be next Sunday, Sunday the 18th, or no, maybe Monday the 18th. I think that's what it would be here. Anyways, it's going to start July the 18th, so you still have time to sign up. Head over to stadiadosage.com. You can get all the information. It tells you there's 4 week-long qualifying rounds, $100 at least in prizes each week. You can get a $50 Google Play gift card or PayPal, $25. Like, there's all these like incentives and money that you can win just for having fun and playing the games. The live final. So after those 4 weeks, it's going to be the top. I don't know. Like previously, it was like the top 16, but I'm not 100% sure. The top will make it into the finals. There's a $500 grand prize and a $250 runner-up prize. It is always fun. So check it out, stadiadosage.com. I'm going to throw the link here into the chat. I also have it in the description. There is Pretentious Yogi. I know he's participated in the previous championships there. So there's the link. Head on over, sign up. It's going to be loads of fun. And the first week starts on July the 18th.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's always fun. And you know what is like with the championships there, we always meet new people. Like there are people that are, in the shadows there that play Stadia but aren't really that active on Twitter or whatever. They find out about it, and there's just like even the Stadia community grows in the amount of friends. It's like I said, it's always a fun time.
Yeah, I know it's
awesome
a
to see.
lot more active now than it used to be, but I think it was the first one that was done, the summer one, the first one, was the first time I came across Ninja IX.
Yes, exactly, right?
I hadn't seen his streams or heard from him or anything before, and then since then, obviously, fan of the stuff. So,
well, just like David P. Pretentious Yogi in here, Humble Bump, like there's so many different people that we know now that is because of these little mini tournaments and fun get-togethers. So it's always a great time. Head like I said, head on over stadiadosage.com. The link is in the chat. It's in the description. And you can sign up absolutely free, and you will have, I guarantee you will have a fun time. It is 100% fun. The next bit of information here is Clockwork Origins. So Elemental War 2 recently came out on Stadia. We talked with the developer too a couple of months ago. And when we asked about other games on Stadia, he said he was interested in it. Well, they put out a blog post here just a couple of days ago. Actually, it's July the 1st, so about a week ago here. And I stumbled across this, and we've now found out that the original Elemental War and Tri-6 Infinite are coming to more platforms, and one of those platforms is Stadia. So we're getting 2 more games from our good friends over here at Clockwork Origins. And Elemental War is a tower defense game. So the very first one, and it's the first game is different than the second one. But what I really wanted to highlight is Tri-6 Infinite here. Let's see if we can get a trailer going. So it says, drive into Tri-6 cyberspace, avoid procedurally distributed obstacles, and beat the evil virus enemies as long as possible to reach the top of the global leaderboards. Hint, hint. Uh, so this is another
Okay.
game here, right? I it's chugging along here. I don't know why it's being silly, but this is another game here. It's going to have it's up to 4-player multiplayer, and it's going to have leaderboards here. To me, this has Stadia Pro written all over it,
Yeah.
right? Like, because this is going to be challenge your friends, challenge that global leaderboard, and see who's number one. For all the glory here. So it's a neat little racing game here. Like I said, that's got procedurally generated obstacles, so it's
It's
never
got some
really the same.
the real Tron vibes about it, hasn't it? Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot like
Yeah.
Tron.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So this is another neat little game that is on its way to Stadia, and they're anticipating. If we go back to the blog post here, he's aiming for a release of both of those at the end of August, early September. So who knows? We could maybe see really both of those games, because the Tower Defense Elemental War should be, I would say, another Stadia Pro game, because again, that's a game you go back to, you go back to, you go back to, you go back to day after day after day. So you're gonna maximize your cash flow by being on Stadia Pro, and you'll get a lot of people who normally wouldn't buy the game try it with Stadia Pro. So you know what? You may even get, let's just say, there's somebody who really wouldn't have bought it before, but they claim it on Pro and they try it. You get $1.40 from them, right? So just for a game that you weren't going to get any money before, now you got $1.40 times that by how many people, and you're rolling in the cash, right?
Yeah.
So definitely here. So 2 games coming soon, and aiming for end of August, early September. Elemental War and Try 6 Infinite. So it's really, really cool. Our friends over at Death Carnival, they released their new logo. We know Death Carnival is an upcoming game. I believe it's still targeted for this year. Many people in the community have been privy to able to beta test and help shape the game here, and they've released their new and updated logo here. So I thought looks pretty cool. Have either of you, Craig? Are you in the beta? I'm not 100% sure
Well,
or not.
I am in the beta.
Okay.
Haven't had a chance to actually jump into it yet, but I am in the beta.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. This is no, so you're in the beta there to help test it out here. This is PvP. They've got several different modes and things into it. So just a little update here from our friends over there at Death Carnival with a new logo. And we see Joe over here saying that's sleek. Ryzak saying this is worth dying for. So a lot of people in the community here making comments, and I know again this would be another game awesome on Stadia Pro because it's going to be competitive. You think of like the Smash TV type of thing. Yeah. Zombie Ain't My Neighbors. Those are similar. That's not exactly what the game is because Death Carnival is so much more. But if you like those type of twin stick shooters, definitely Death Carnival is going to be something that you want to check it out here. Alrighty, so
not to read too much into it, but new logo. Hopefully, we start seeing a release date follow and things like that. It's not too far away.
Yeah, hopefully this looks like a good sign of it here. And here we are in lead. I'm not sure if he's still awake. But I wanted to post here. This is something that happened. So this happened last week. I had COVID. And of course, the day that I get COVID, there's big expansion news. Didn't have a show last week. But I wanted to bring this up here because to me, expansion is one of the big key factors of the platform growing. We saw earlier, scientists was telling us, Mexico, even though currently right now it's not even a supported country, there's a lot of people in Mexico that are finding a way how to play Stadia, VPN or whatever methods that they're using. And sure enough, last week we got the official announcement that Stadia is coming to Mexico at sometime this year, between now and the end of this year. And what's very interesting is that Mexico, with 129 million population, it's the second largest Stadia country behind the US. So this is pretty awesome to see here. Like, you look at it here, USA with the most population, then bam, Mexico at 129. And we know, based upon that information too, they have high play rates as well. So it'll be interesting to see, maybe if the scientists, after it launches in Mexico a couple of months later, maybe if you're able to get information or data and see how that compares between previously, when it wasn't available in Mexico, and now available in Mexico. I'm sure the numbers will be increased greatly.
I will ask the devs to download, because they have to download on purpose. It's not something they do. They did it for me, which is really, really nice. I would probably ask them to download now, like July, because I got for May, right? It's been a while. I'll ask to download now, and then again, I hope hopefully Gamescom. I don't know. Like Saints Row. We're talking about Saints Row. It's August 23rd. 23rd is one of the days of the Gamescom in Germany. I really, really hope, please stay to just launch in Brazil and Mexico. Come on.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be
for
so
sure.
Good.
I really do think that, like, when I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, okay, before this was announced, where's Stadia going to launch next? Brazil and Mexico were my top two choices, because Mexico is still part of North America here, and Brazil, even though South America there, but it's still all such a high demand in Brazil. We know when Xbox Cloud Gaming launched there were wait times of people trying to get on, and queues and things like that. So we know that Brazil is a hot country. Lots of information you can see, not only from the scientists, but other reports show that is like a prime spot to launch, because of inflation and high prices on hardware, and the availability of certain items and things like that. Brazil, I think, hopefully there will be another announcement this year. I know, scientists, you're really, really hoping for it. And that was awesome to find out that you put out a video, didn't advertise it anywhere. You have 10 subscribers and you already have over 100 views, right? So that's awesome, really. Like, I can't believe, like, that just shows you that the demand there. So hopefully it's incredible. We see that.
I did a live video of my Stadia Pro gameplay for nobody, and I have like 23 views. Just me playing games in Portuguese, and translation in Portuguese. It's pretty impressive. I think the Stadia, of course, they know the data. They have seen where people are playing, if they have to invest, where to go next. Of course, population counts. As I've shown in one of my graphs, the population follows the amount of player per session. Also, US is the one with more, and then Germany, UK. I don't know how UK would go to win leads data there, because it's might be broken apart from different countries. But it's a lot of people, and in Mexico it's even lower population than Brazil, and people are so into that GeForce Now. There was no big announcement on TV or anything. GeForce Now had to reduce their free time from 1 hour session to 30 minutes because of the demand in Brazil. I don't know if many people know that here, but in Brazil, GeForce Now free sessions are 30 minutes. The queue are gigantic. People put the thing there and then just come back to it hours later to wait, because the demand is gigantic. And I'm talking about the free, because we don't have enough money. It's like more than $50, and it would be corresponding. My salary here would be similar to my salary there in the same currency. But instead of paying 10, I'm paying 50. So it's 5 times more expensive per salary.
Right.
To have 1080p and priority. This is such a high demand. Imagine having actual free, and then six. I made the videos talking about those things. You can have 6 accounts and paying pro, and then you just
Right.
send a WhatsApp, because Brazil has big on WhatsApp, telling I'm playing this game today, so then nobody will play it.
Yeah,
that works.
that's good. Yeah, definitely,
It's
definitely.
it's really
is
really
awesome.
cost effective. Stadia is going to be a major success. It's going to game changer, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I think I saw you tweeted about there was what My Little Pony was rated, and it
Bratz?
included Brazil, right?
Yeah, Bratz the
Oh, was it
fashion.
Bratz?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The fashion one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that one still wasn't announced, but I'm 100% sure it's coming now. Because from I know there are a lot of rated games that are not Stadia yet, but those are not on Brazil. The Brazil ones, all of them came to Stadia eventually. So I'm confident. They have to be a lawyer to put those things out there. So I think.
Right. Yeah. So Primo was asking, wait, how does the scientist play in Brazil? So people from Brazil using a VPN, right?
Yeah, that's correct. They use VPN.
Okay.
And different VPNs. They have lots of videos on the internet with thousands of views, showing how to use VPN on Stadia in Brazil in Portuguese out there.
And what's awesome is I love that in those reports, like you showed us here, like they see that, they know that here's these unsupported countries and you're having all these people play from them. So I think Brazil is gotta be soon.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a logical choice there, because if we're talking about it, right, obviously the people at Google, they've got a lot more information and things like that. So
yeah. Primo, I play on US. I'm living in US.
Yes, yeah. So scientist he's in the US. Yeah. Okay, so we got one little bit information here, and I saw Carson join earlier. I'm not sure if he's still here, but Talking Dogs. So Carson Kelly Games. We've talked with Carson. Again, he's been on the show. Fantastic individual. Talking Dogs is really taking off. It's going to be coming next June the 30th of next year. So less than a year away now, 2023. Of course, coming to Stadia, but also several other platforms as well. And it's going to be using Unreal Engine 5. And he's got some more stills here that he released here today that wanted to show. He had a little setback. He had some announcements coming up, but they've got pushed back by a couple of months. So we'll have him back on the show here in the next couple of months here. But again, another great family-oriented or kids game here. When we talked with Carson, he's got big plans for Talking Dogs and the series. There's other games that he's announced. So we're going to get Carson back on the show here in the next couple of months and talk to him and just find out more and see where he's at with Talking Dogs and get an update on that. So that is all the news for today. Whew. Wow. We've been at it for almost 2 hours here, but you know what? It's awesome because we've got to talk with Craig there, the scientist. We learned a lot of information, hearing your views, lots of news. We've got a poll going on here that as we close out the show here, I see that there's 57 votes. If you haven't voted already, please vote here. The poll is asking which of these two games, Skull and Bones and Saints Row, are you most excited to play the most? And we're going to go ahead here. I'm going to end the poll. All right. And I see Fletcher saying Saints Row has made me hyped. Here we go. Saints Row, 63% of people who voted watching today's show are most excited to play Saints Row. Skull and Bones, 36%. So that's a very respectable amount. But Saints Row is the hype. I think that is a very big boost because people, we've already seen we have 2 Saints Row games on Stadia right now. So I think that was kind of like a testing ground to see how well they would do. And now we can see here Saints Row is coming August the 23rd. That is going to be awesome. I really, really can't wait for this bad boy to.
I voted for Saints Row, but purely just because I'm impatient, and that is it's sooner. So I'm more hyped because I get to play it sooner. So
Yep, awesome. Oh, well, here we are. Jack is gifted 5 memberships. Oh my gosh, I'm looking down here at my phone. Thank you so much, Jack. And Lee was gifted a membership. Dad Plays Games has got a membership. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
I have a theory about Jack.
Okay. What's your theory here as
I
we
think
close out?
in December, Jack's going to go very quiet as he goes into the busy season. I think Jack might be Santa Claus. It's just the man given it. So.
Yeah. Well, this is Stadia Dosage has such a great incentive for up and coming streamers to be able to play the game, share them, review. We saw Craig. I know like you've got reviewed some games. You've written articles on Stadia Dosage. Scientists, you said you've got some of the the gifting to help you get started off and make these videos. And I think that's like a grassroots movement for the Stadia community, and it is totally awesome. I see Simpleton here says, Jack de Santa Claus. There you go. Paul saying Santa de Slip. Definitely. Yeah, this is so awesome. And again, Jack's been on the show. I don't know if Jack was on the first or second episode. We talked with Jack and just got a little bit of background on him, and said the Stadia community, there's so many awesome people in this community. I totally love it. Everyone, everyone's got their own opinions and views, and although we don't always agree, collectively we come together and still have fun, and it's all about playing the games and things like that. And like I said here, it's so awesome. And I just want to say a big thank you to the scientists, Craig, and everybody in the chat for coming out here today. It has been an amazing show. I know every show I say it's going to be a special show, it's going to be awesome, but it always is. Like I love doing Stadium Connect North every week here, and I just feel so awesome, amazing, being able to talk and share ideas with everybody and in the chat and have talk with developers. And we learned so much. The scientists here today, he took us to school. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video probably about 4 or 5 times to see if I can, I know there's stuff that I missed or I didn't fully understand, but overall, I've got a good grasp of it here. So
yeah, I could use the real data to correct the other graphs, but when I did a small estimation, I was very within that range. Other people use Reddit user base, like PlayStation has that many million people, and Reddit has that many thousand people, so they divide one by the other to reach this ratio. That's very similar to Xbox. And when they do that for Stadia, they get around 250 to 400,000 people also active users based on that. So I really think my guesses were within the reality of active users. It's not total users. No, it's not total users in time. I think the total users in time would be more than 2.5 million individuals accounts. That's for sure. And when it launches in Mexico and Brazil, it's gonna triple in a day.
Gosh.
It's gonna be crazy.
I can't wait. If you're able to get that info, I would love to have you come back on when that happens and be able to share that. We can do a recap of today's info and then compare it to after Stadia's launched in Mexico. It's going to be awesome.
And if you have your contacts for the shows, you talk to devs and you talk to publishers. If you can harass them and ask them to send me the tables, I promise it keeps all secret. I keep everything I have on my. I'm a professional. I work with clinical data. I know how to hide data, and I can show it up. And if they want to share, the more I have, more I will be able to get closer to the truth. Thank you for having me in the show. It was fantastic.
Oh no, thank you, Craig. So tell us, do you have any streams planned? Where can we find you? I'm going to get your info added to the description of this video, but do you have any upcoming streams planned this weekend? Or
Only one planned is next Thursday, Cyberpunk 2077, 9 p.m. UK time. But I tend to just stream as and when I can. So almost every day. The best way is just to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell, because I'll go live anywhere between 6 a.m. and midnight. So
okay, yeah, exactly, right. I mean, you've got small children there, so just like a lot of us, you're a family person there, and you can stream when you're able to. So that's amazing. Like I said, we'll get Craig's data link to your YouTube and Twitter added into the description, so you can check it out. And definitely great streams there. I know you were doing a couple multiplayer streams here recently as well, getting people together. So you can also find you write also for Stadia Dosage as well. So find some great articles on there by Craig as well. Just an overall awesome individual.
Make me blush. It's a good job I've got a rubbish camera, because you can't tell I'm blushing. But
no, we really appreciate it, Craig. And I know we've been friends for probably since close to the beginning of Stadia. I know it's been a while now, and it's so great to be able to have you come on the show. And as always, we'll get you back on again, co-host here. And
anytime.
It's been a fantastic time. Awesome, great. Scientist Rafael, thank you so much. I know we've been planning you coming on the show here to talk about your data for a couple of weeks, and it was great. You did a fantastic job. Thank you so much for breaking all that data down, making it easy to understand, sharing with us. I think it opened a lot of eyes. People really realize, just how well Stadia Pro does for the developers, and also, seeing across the world the different amount of players and correlation to the population. And I'm going to plug Canada here because it had the highest ratio of players per thousand?
Per million, yeah.
Per million. There you go. So, and we know when
it's too polite.
The ESA does reports to yearly, and Canada's always the amount of people that consider themselves gamers or play games in the country. It's a very high percentage of people that play games. So really, it's not that surprising to hear that information from you. So that's great. And again, thank you so much. I know I've got your info in the description here. So yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. I can't wait to find out more information. Always welcome back on as well.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what we need to do? I need to get the information for your Discord for the Dead by Daylight. That way we can plug that. So if people looking to play Dead by Daylight, Scientist is your man there. He's I remember when Dead by Daylight came out on Stadia, we played for a little bit, and I think that's how I first got to really know and interact with you there. And then from then on, we've always just been friends as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I went on to play 1,000 hours of it on Stadia. I really like that game. It's so addictive. And what is interesting is that you click and play, the entire session. It's almost like Centipede. The entire gameplay is one session. So in 5 to 10 minutes, you actually experience everything you have to experience. And that's makes so easy, so replayable. And I think that Skulls and Bones is going to be like this. I still don't know.
Yep.
But it feels like that replayability. You go back to it, and Roguebook is also this way, and I think I find it so addictive. So you have to get, control the device. You're just gonna play 1,000 hours like me.
I've done a couple of streams on it, and the streams always go on longer than I plan to, because it's I just have one more go.
Yep, exactly. Come on, one more, and then you're like, well, I was only going to stream for an hour, and now we're 2.5 hours into it.
I'm getting in trouble, and I get told off by it.
Yeah, exactly.
an hour.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know. Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody. Scientists, Petter, the chat. I really do appreciate it. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we will see you back here next Friday for another episode of Stadium Connect North. And I'll be streaming throughout the week. More Five Nights at Freddy's, so I'll need your help, scientists here. To help make it out of that daycare there. Five Nights at Freddy's, a great game if you haven't tried it. Again, Stadia Pro game. That's a really great get for Stadia and a fun game to play. Again, thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you all again real soon. Take care.
Thank you, John.
Bye.